What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of V2 Sports. And today we have none other than Mizzou football recap.
I hope y'all enjoyed that nice intro from Mrs. V2. And we're going to go ahead and get into the episode for today. If we're going to be completely honest, we understand that we are an all SEC podcast, and only like 8 of us, not even 8, okay? There's 6 people in here, and none of us watched any Mizzou football. Because why? Because Missouri is ass. They're ass. You have Luther Burden. You have a quarterback who can't throw the ball. Your offense is one dimensional. And with that being said, that's all we're going to do for this recap. So good morning, good afternoon, and good night from the V2 crew. Mizzou, go fuck yourself. No, I'm just playing with you. Let's go ahead and get into the slate. We have their first game, if I'm reading this right. No, it took me all the way back into 2019. Their first game is Louisiana Tech. 52-24. Mizzou starts 1-0. What was everybody's feelings about that game? Am I gonna be the only one to speak? Hello?
So Dane was speaking. You just wouldn't let him speak.
He's not speaking. I can see his microphone. It's on. Oh my gosh, he's muted for me. Whoopsie.
Brother.
Go ahead, Dane. I'm sorry.
Okay, but as I was saying, it wasn't a very good opponent. Obviously, it's Louisiana Tech, but they still came out strong. They put up good numbers on offense, and it's probably something you'll never see for the rest of the season.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, this was more of a tail of the ground game because Brady Cook didn't really do anything. He threw for 200 yards, but he had a touchdown, a pick. He basically had Anthony Richardson numbers, so congratulations. This was a story of just Pete, Schrader, Cook, Burden, Harris, like just all the running backs at this point, because they're really the only ones who are truly scoring. And a lot of them were actually going for not 100 yards, but still decent yards. But again, this is La Tech. We're not really expecting that much. The only thing I really can say at least the defense played good. They forced 3 picks, so that's a rarity. Or well, I guess not necessarily for Mizzou, but just in general.
Did you say that this was a ground game for Mizzou? You're crazy as hell.
Wait, how?
Brady Cook had 201, like in
Yeah,
the air. I understand that they
correct.
went 323 for rushing, but if you're looking at it, Louisiana Tech's defense is like ass. So I don't know. It could. I actually would say this is an even. Like they actually evenly used their entire offense this game.
They also had 1 touchdown actually passing, by the way.
Okay, well, give Brady Cook some credit. He's not
No,
good.
I'm not giving him credit. He's not good, as you said. I give credit to people who I'm impressed with, and I've not given. To be fair, I haven't given credit to many people, and I'll continue not to do so. Brady Cook wasn't really good this season. Could he play better? Sure, he's getting a much better receiving core next year, but who knows? Maybe he'll still crap the bed.
All right. Anybody else got any other statements for this one? Will, Jake.
This is an opening game, but a win is a win. I mean, not much to say except
Refined
good
and
job to
exquisite
Mizzou for
take.
trying.
Refined, non ESPN esque. This is all we asked for to be on the V2 on air crew, and that is exactly what Jake just showed us. Something you can't read from ESPN. So let's go ahead and move on to the second game in their schedule, which was a loss to Kansas State. And many
To
people
be fair,
going into
Kansas State
this
was
season
good.
did not think Kansas State would be as good as they were. That
Same
game was
time, though,
absolutely insane.
it was only
I mean,
week 2, and yet you got crushed. 2
I
picks
thought
for
they'd
Brady
make
Cook.
the Big 12 championship.
Well, I'm proud of you, Will. Or should I say, Bill?
You should say Bill.
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 Fucking
Bill is our website guy. All right. So this game was like, I understand that it was pretty shitty for Mizzou. Okay, only 128 passing yards, 56 rushing yards, and the leader of the rushing stat, might I say that, as I'm reading this, 56 rushing yards from Brady
Brady
Cook.
Cook.
Okay,
I mean, this is just an all-out piss poor performance from
it's
the
Mizzou.
Missouri
Look at their
offense.
team colors. It's piss and kidney disease piss.
Oh my god!
Like,
I mean,
come on.
like on one hand, here's the thing. On one hand, it's Kansas State. They had a good offense. Deuce Vaughn was always a good player, and he went 145 for 2 touchdowns here, averaging 6 yards a carry. But what's interesting is it seems like Kansas State's offense was getting better as the quarters went on. Like first quarter, you held them 7 points, but then you gave up 13. Then you brought it back to 6, but then you gave up 14. That doesn't make sense, especially considering I thought they would have brought in some of the backups. So a little odd that
if there's-
Missouri's defense.
Well, it does make it really does make sense because they played good
offense wasn't doing
defensively in the
anything.
first quarter. Their offense doesn't do anything, and they give up a bunch of points in the second quarter. They go to halftime. Their defense, which was actually pretty solid last year, gets time to rest. And they play good in the third quarter, and then they play like crap in the fourth quarter again because the defense is dead.
Well, no, the
I
best
feel
part
bad.
about this Missouri team in this game is I want y'all to, like, if you can, any of the members that are in here,
4
look at the
interceptions.
scoring summary. No. Missouri did not give up to the point where they scored a touchdown on the last play of the game to make it 40-12. It's like those damn memes. And Chris Paul drains the buzzer beater 3 to take the final score to 78-42. Like, come on. Was it really worth it to get that touchdown? Like, you're
I
already
mean,
losing. You're not
so
going to be able
much
to kick
better,
an
bro.
onside.
It's interesting that they threw more interceptions in the game than they scored in one half. So
Is that really interesting, though? I mean, it's Missouri, and I understand
Okay,
if there's any Missouri
it's not
fans
interesting,
listening to this,
it's
I'm
funny.
sorry. You're
okay,
just like,
it's not interesting.
It's
It's
not
funny.
interesting when Brady cooks your quarterback.
That's again, we
no
weren't paying
shit.
attention.
Well, like, if we're being realists here, and I want y'all to think about this because I noticed this when I was doing the, I guess, research on this game. The starting quarterback for K-State, Adrian Martinez, he was originally committed to Tennessee. Would he have been able to do this all 4 years at Tennessee, considering
Probably
that was
not.
his senior year? No, he wouldn't have. So K-State had it out for Mizzou, and it was nothing but a pure, like, out-coaching. Drink got out-coached. That's all it is. And Deuce Vaughn put the team on his back.
I will
But
say though, I mean, it's not a surprise that Missouri's coaching had issues. I mean, that's been a common theme throughout the season.
how the hell
So-
do you expect me to out
I mean,
recruit
yeah, but it
Georgia?
doesn't help when your team has 4 turnovers.
That too. But with that being said, okay, listen, do y'all really want to go over Abilene Christian? No? Yeah?
Not
Heck
really.
no.
Okay,
Not
well then let's
particularly.
go to the game that saved Auburn's coach, Mr. Harson's career for an extra game. Where
Can I rant about this game,
go for it.
if you don't mind?
Oh, I was gonna
So,
rant.
for anybody
Y'all
who
both
doesn't
rant, I
remember
don't
this
care.
game, I got you. Because this was the battle of who could fuck it up more. Because Missouri literally, they go up to the line in the final seconds. All they have to do is make a field goal. Make a field goal to win the game. They're at like the 10-yard line. It's literally
It's
an
a
extra
chip
point
shot.
at this. It's the easiest kick, and the announcers are all going, "Here comes the thicker kicker. He's gonna hit this." I mean, it's super close, and he's been made every single one on the season. No worries for Missouri. That bitch
sad part
shanks it
is,
right. He
He was a
shanks it.
great kicker this season.
Couldn't believe it. And then I
Wait,
thought,
What did
okay,
they call their kicker?
The thicker
thicker
kicker.
kicker. Yeah, I know. What's even more interesting though is in overtime. This is where I started to hate Robbie Ashford because what happens is in overtime and also in the fourth quarter, he would fail and then just bitch on the sideline. The whole time he'd be like, just crying and complaining because he wasn't good enough. And that's where I was like, you will never be a leader.
Hell, he
You'll
did that
never
all
be
season.
Auburn's quarterback. I know. You'll never be Auburn's quarterback when you're just this puss who's, super sad all the time.
Say it with- say it with your
Why
chest.
is me?
He is a
I can't-
pussy. Say
I
it with your
can't
chest.
win anything. I couldn't score the touchdown. It's just embarrassing. It really pissed me off a lot, and I get it for all the Auburn stands out here saying, but he's a freshman. Dude, you were playing College 1, Power 5, SEC football. Even Nick Saban decides that when a freshman goes in at quarterback, they're supposed to be playing at least decent and not being a bitch. And he was the whole season, and it really annoyed me. But point is, Missouri had the chance to win the game because They only held Auburn to a field goal in overtime. They rushed to the end zone. They score a touchdown. Brian's like, oh my God, Missouri won. They fumbled it in the end zone. When he dove, fumbled it in the end zone. Auburn gets the ball. Game over. Auburn wins. It was just a crappy performance between the two poverty Tiger teams, neither of which made the even a bowl game. So
Missouri made a bowl game, clown.
Oh, they did? Oh,
A
Yeah,
good
they
one.
did.
They got better
We'll
as
get
the year
there.
went on.
I apologize. Did they have 6 wins?
Yes.
Well, there we go. So
How?
they snuck one. But point is, you got to admit, neither of these teams were doing anything this season. So when you see them matched against each other, what are they going to do?
All right, my recap of this game is you had 2 aggressively shitty offenses playing against
Yep.
each other. What did you expect was going to
entertaining.
happen? It was a game of field goals. The only touchdown is no.
What are you talking about? No. The first quarter, Auburn scored 2 touchdowns. Second quarter,
My
Missouri
bad.
scores 2 touchdowns. And then coming into halftime, we're like, oh my God, 14 all tied? This is a good game. And then we saw the second half.
And y'all remember when we covered this game? Spear, were you on the team at that point, or Luke?
Yeah, I was. No, actually. No, I didn't cover the recap. The first time I think I covered was when we were talking about Missouri playing Florida.
Jeez. Okay. This game
Wish I was
pissed
here, though.
all of us off, the people that were here. And it was me, Jaron, Dane, Jackson, a couple other people I can't mention. And it was just a shitter game. And that's all I'm going to leave it at. Will, you said you had a rant?
Yeah, I do have a rant. I have a
Go for
rant because people hate these types of games. I love shit shows. Shit shows are some of the
Cook.
most fun things to watch
I
in college
agree.
football.
It's
This
funny.
game was so much fun to watch.
Unless it's your team. Otherwise, it sucks.
Yeah, unless you're watching, I can't even say the game, but
I've been to
these
2
games are so fun.
I've been to
They
2
are.
Even when it's your team, after it, you can just laugh about it.
I've
That's
been-
true.
I know Auburn fans that laugh
Jesus.
about this game. Like, I
We'll
love
say
these
this.
types. This is what makes college football college football.
We'll say this.
Shit
Auburn has some
storms
good
like this.
fans. Y'all have some W fans. It doesn't matter if you guys are winning 10 games or winning 2 games. Y'all will pack that stadium out.
Well,
It's crazy.
For me to bank off what Will said, I've been to 2 goat fuckings and 5 circus orgies, and this was still more exciting than that. So, Will,
Did you not participate in any of those?
I'm not allowed to anymore. I gotta stay like 10 feet away from goats and shit. I don't know why, but
Oh. Why only 10
That's
feet?
bestiality.
it's not bestiality. It's only bestiality if you engage in it. Watching
the
is a
Tyrone.
different
Said you
kind.
Play
participate.
the Tyrone sound.
Did not engage in it,
Timed
only
that
watched.
perfectly. I timed that perfectly.
Alright.
As soon as you played the sound, I went.
Okay, I don't remember the game being this close at all. But let's go into the next game where Georgia beat Auburn by 4, or not Auburn, Missouri. Oh, never mind. This is Mizzou.
This
I
was
got
the
caught up
rain
in
game.
Auburn. I got caught up in Auburn. My bad. 26-22.
Holy shit.
This was the
I
I
would
rain
like to
lost
rant
my-
about this game.
I
as
lost
well.
my mind during this game.
I would like to rant about this game as well.
Georgia's a passing team, not a rushing team. And when you
This
play
game, it
in
did
the
not rain during this game.
Yes, it
Yeah,
did.
it did. It
No,
did.
it didn't.
Yes,
Yes,
it
it
did.
It
did.
did not rain. I was
It did.
there.
No, you weren't.
It was sprinkled.
That's
Sprinkling
rain.
is not
That
rain.
is rain.
It's raining.
Sprinkling should not
rain,
affect
yeah.
the throwing of a football.
Slippery,
Stetson Bennett
goofy.
is just terrible at football.
Well,
Fair
at least
enough.
you finally admit it.
wasn't the reason. It was just
Okay,
Missouri's coaching was
let's
just
take a step back here.
No, you
fucking
finally
this
dumb.
game-
admit that Stetson
in
Bennett's
this
a bad
game,
quarterback.
I
Thank you.
If
watched.
there's an applause sound effect, you need
I
to play it
watched
now.
from that grassy M
Yeah, that's.
I was in
I thought it was a
Missouri.
Rocky M.
for the first time in my life. I know a guy who's a professor at Missouri. He's friends with my dad. He got us tickets. He
That's
went
cool.
to high school with my dad, so we flew up there to go see him.
Good stuff.
And we were sitting on the grassy Missouri M. It's actually sick. If y'all
This
ever
is
want
cool.
to go to Missouri, go
Why the
sit
hell
on
do I
that
wanna
M.
go to Missouri. Uncle Bo
That's the
told
one
me
thing
that
all
Missouri
about
has.
Missouri. Uncle Bo told me all about Missouri, and there's nothing to do there but catch AIDS, herpes, crabs, or a drug addiction. So
We're lost.
Well, I did do. I actually can't say that live on air.
Good job.
So anyways, in this game, during the pre-games, the three of us were sitting on that M, and we saw Jalen Carter walk over to the Missouri offensive line and talk shit for like 15 minutes. And at that moment, my dad looks at me and goes, "These boys are in for an ass kicking." And for 4 quarters, Missouri took it to the Dogs. Ah, what a game.
I wouldn't say 4 quarters. I'd say more 3, but
Like Missouri even chop blocked Jalen Carter and took out his knees. Like they came to play.
I will say
They
this.
came to play in this game.
At least I don't endorse it, but like it's all cool to trash talk when you're on the field. But when the game hasn't even started, shut the hell up.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, dude,
I'm sorry, Luke.
it was the clock in the stadium was an hour and 15 till game time.
Yeah, like you can trash talk on the field all you want. That's part of the game.
Luke,
But when you
I thought you were about
What?
to try to play me up for the Tyrone sound. I thought you were about to say, "All right, listen, it's okay to trash talk on the field, but not in the better." I had my finger waiting.
You know what? Right now, we'll rewind that and we'll do that real
Thank you.
quick. So it's fine to trash talk on the field, but it's not when you're in the bed.
And it's not an hour and 15 minutes before game time. Like that's
It usually
so
is for me. It takes a
stupid.
lot of for.
Like I'm even kind of okay when you trash talk, like when you're on the walkout and like you're hyping up the fans and stuff, and then you maybe go
Oh,
to the
yeah.
sideline, you're like
Oh, yeah.
holding up a belt or something, be like, yeah, you're about to kick the shit out of you, but like, come on.
And look,
Not all
I
the
don't want
time.
this to like reflect on Jalen Carter like he's a bad kid with all
He's a
these
college
character
student.
things
They're gonna
coming
do
out.
that.
Like Jalen Carter's a really good kid, but just an hour and 15 before game time, talking crap to the players you're about to play against. It's your own fault that they chop blocked you in
That
the
reminds me
knees
of a
Jalen
time.
and took
Carter
out
is
your
gonna
knees
listen to
and
this
made you
episode.
sit out 3
He's
weeks.
gonna find
That's
your
your fault.
Instagram and he's gonna call you relentlessly, and he's just gonna start like hate talking. Well,
Yeah.
or should I say
Nolan
Bill?
Smith really saved this game for Georgia because of his run defense. I do want to say that though. Missouri
also-
kept running.
Or sorry, you got it.
Missouri kept trying to run an outside zone in this game, and Nolan Smith was just eating it for breakfast. And that's really the only reason Georgia won this football game.
Bro, that way he said eating for breakfast. Come on. I was gonna say, it also reminds me of a story where I was at Starkville watching Mississippi State play Bama, and this was
Hail
the time
State.
where and this is the time where they had like that ridiculous defense of like Montez Sweat, Jeffrey Simmons, Jonathan Abram, like that.
Oh, that
stacked
2017 year?
Yeah, 17-18, where they won like 9 games, I think. Like, the point is, their defense was ridiculous. And in that game, when Alabama was going out of the tunnel, Jeffrey Simmons runs over to them with the belt, or no, a chain, and just starts holding it up and getting all the Bama players pissed. And even though they lost, that was probably one of the coolest games I've ever watched, strictly because of how hype it was. Every time State would score, that stadium would erupt. Like Messi just scored the game-winning goal versus France. It was insane. I feel like, again, even though I don't endorse it, that trash talk that you'll see at the beginning can make games interesting.
And for those of y'all that don't know, Mississippi State Stadium really doesn't get that loud too often. So to hear it erupt is really something special.
It gets loud when they're good. That's about all I can say. It gets loud when they're like good, because you can ring a cowbell all you want, but you also have to add in some actual, crowd noise.
Like when they played Texas A&M this year and they were killing them, that stadium was really loud. But
yeah, but when you're playing either a bad team or you're not.
But when they were playing Georgia and losing by 30, that stadium was pretty quiet.
That game
they need to
was
add
some
more
bullshit.
seats.
All right.
They need to add more seats, but we can move on.
Let's go ahead and move on to Luke's debut, Florida and Mizzou. Wow, Florida. The hopes for you weren't high, but damn, you only won by 7 points. What?
Anthony Richardson decided to go off. He went for 66 whole yards, 1 touchdown,
Florida
1
fans
interception.
saying AR is going to be
Bro was
Heisman.
balling.
Shit, y'all think it's
What
bad
I want to
this
say
year?
here,
Wait
really,
until Graham Mertz comes in this bitch.
Nice, Mert.
All right, but
Oh
no,
god,
like
Graham Mertz.
all hats off to Brady Cook, because somehow it's really it's shitty to throw for 220 yards, have no touchdown to show for it, but all you've got to show is 2 interceptions.
I was about to say, I thought you were about to hype him up, and I was like, what did he do?
If Missouri had Mike Wright, do they
Dang.
win 9 games?
Yeah.
If Missouri had Mike Wright, no, they win. What was their
They
final
win
score?
9
6 and
games.
6?
Yeah, they win 9 games.
No,
You know
they
what's
win like
interesting?
7.
Missouri's
No, they
defense.
beat Georgia. They beat
Are
Auburn.
you sure they beat Georgia?
By the way, the game stats make 0 sense because
Yes.
Missouri had 72 plays compared to Florida's 46. They converted 21 first downs in comparison to Florida's 13. They went 9 for 17 on third down, again compared to Florida's 3 for 11. Statistically, they were winning this game, especially holding possession, and yet they still sucked. And I think that just all goes to show no matter how decent your team could be, if you have a Brady Cook at that quarterback spot, you're still gonna lose.
It's just
Brady Cook is like eating cold French fries.
That's giving him too
It-
much props. You can at least make do with cold French fries.
no, the
Brady
fuck you
Cook,
can't.
No, you
Brady
can't.
Cook. Brady Cook is like getting back home to you worked all day and all you want is just a nice shower, and then you figure out that
Your hot
the
water
heater isn't working, and now you just have a cold
Here,
ass shower.
I've got a better one, mainly for the people that listen to this podcast. I know you'll understand this. Brady Cook was nothing but a season long of blue balls for the Missouri fans. You got there, you were fully prepared, you were doing everything you could. Boom, you got to go home. You got blue balled all season by Brady Cook. How do you feel?
Spam the sound.
Brady Cook is like my ex-girlfriend. She'd suck you off right up until you finished and then leave.
Jason,
Anyone,
until you
anyone want to follow that?
Honestly.
All right,
who
hold
would
on.
do such a thing? Who would do such a thing?
We're going to continue that discussion off the air once we get finished with this because
I
I'm
feel
still trying
sorry
to
for
figure out
Will.
that analogy. Let's
Yeah,
go
because
ahead
you
and move
need
on.
someone like Hendon Hooker with Swallow too.
What? What did you say?
Dade? Dade, was that you?
Dane.
Dane, were you
Dane?
speaking?
And
Dane, can I hear it again?
Hokey? Hokey,
Jake?
is that you?
Sure.
Anybody that wants to
Mhm.
speak?
that have been Dane.
Yeah. I was saying you need someone on your team like Hendon Hooker who, to add on the Bills analogy there, will at least swallow after you finish.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank y'all for joining us for this episode of Missouri Football Recap. Yeah, Mizzou, y'all suck. Good morning. Oh, my bad. Make sure to use code V2Sports at Dubby for 10% off your first purchase. And make sure when you get that W, you swallow it all the way down. We ain't finishing this episode yet. Let's go ahead and move on to the Missouri and Vanderbilt game. And oh my gosh, Mike Wright, you should have won this game. Like, Missouri, I
That's what I'm
understand.
saying.
Mizzou, I understand. Like, for the 8 fans that are listening right now,
AJ Swan.
hold on. For the 8
AJ
fans that are
Swan.
listening right now,
AJ Swan's a rapist.
your team is ass. And I'm struggling to get through this episode because you know how Bama fans would like to do that whole thing. Hell, we heard it the other night. Bama only lost by a combined 6 points. Mizzou, you won by like a combined, on most of your wins, your most against an actual SEC school was 3. Oh, you beat South Carolina by 13. Jesus Christ. Okay, never mind. Let's just get back into Vandy.
That's why
AJ's
Jackson's not here today.
The bottom line is if Mr. Rapist didn't start that game, then Vanderbilt probably wins.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Vandy, like we
100%.
said again multiple times, AJ Swan's a rapist. If you clown on Florida for Jalen Kitna, just know that AJ Swan is like a slight step above it, but not really.
He's
So-
actually the one who made. Funny enough, he's actually the one who made the Discord. So interesting. Kitno is only a joiner.
The Kitna Swan song. So let's just
Let's
actually
gather
talk about
around
this.
the campfire and sing our Kitno Swan. Okay.
Let's actually talk about this like disaster of a
ASWA.
game. So before we get into it, Missouri is predicted to win. Like there's an 88% chance they win. Okay, one, I don't understand why they had this much of a chance to win. Vanderbilt was hot at this moment. They had damn near the same record besides conference play. So
Conference play.
like, and here's another thing, Missouri fans, and I'll say this, and I'm going to
Fine.
say this every other game. You have
Every other
one
game.
receiving threat, okay,
One
and it's
receiving
Luther Burden.
Luther
Actually, Dominic Lovett led the SEC in
Dominic
receiving
Lovett.
yards.
Okay, guess what?
Okay,
It
guess
doesn't
what?
matter. When the leader in
doesn't.
receiving
Didn't even
yards
lead
is
in
Luther Burden,
receiving yards that
and
game.
then Lovett
Leader.
left this year, so imagine how
Lovett left.
shitty your Mizzou's going to be
Shitty.
next year.
Next year, yeah.
Am I repeating myself?
Luther Bolden actually didn't
I'm
do too
making a
much
what
this
out of
year.
myself?
66 yards.
You're making a
and
fool
against
out of yourself.
Vanderbilt.
What, Jake?
Burden he only had put up 66 yards against Vanderbilt.
Burden?
Well,
Yes.
he makes a difference in like punt and kick returns.
Wow.
I mean, I guess
So he's a
Brady
glorified
Cook.
Devin Hester. Except he can't do anything on special teams.
Core,
I mean,
Daryl
like
Patterson,
Brady
minus the
Cook
talent.
is his quarterback. Brady Cook is his quarterback. We gotta cut him some slack
Shit,
here.
Hester
He's-
had to deal with Matt Ryan for a little bit. Let's be realists here. They're the same person, different
Brady
shape.
Cook. It amazes me.
Matt
How
Ryan
many
is
games did Brady Cook?
1,200 times better than Brady Cook.
Quick question. I'm not 100% sure about this, but can you guys give us like a rough estimate about how many games Brady Cook had without an interception?
0.
I think it
Really?
literally was like 0. Like 1 or
Wow.
1 at max.
He probably threw one against Abilene Christian.
Y'all want me to go back and look at it while y'all continue to talk about this one? Hold on.
So
Yeah,
we call that
Missouri Vanderbilt. So
Jameis
if
Cook
you've ever
or
been
Brady
kicked in the
Winston?
nuts,
He did not have an
this
he
is
did not
about
have
what
an
Washington's
interception
game was
against
like.
Abilene. No
Oh,
interception versus Abilene.
yeah.
One interception. Wow.
No,
Actually,
my
he probably. I
QB.
don't think he threw one against Georgia.
I'll go
Yo,
check
I'll go
that
back and
out
check
too.
that.
I got it.
I got you right
I
now.
got it. I'm already at it. He did not. Holy shit.
Yeah.
He still has. So back to this Vanderbilt
Good
game.
Congratulations. You still suck.
Missouri, you won this game strictly like we've said it 4 times because AJ Swan started.
Drive. It's what propels the chip.
Also, I will point out that there was nothing like this was literally just the Auburn game without a stupid ending. Same score, same similar team stats. It's just another shit show. I mean, like, except this one wasn't funny because like shit shows are funny when like mistakes are made. There weren't really mistakes made. It's just they
Nobody
sucked.
could finish.
What?
They couldn't finish.
No one could finish.
Play the sound.
You know,
No,
you know
play
no
that
one
sound,
could
big boy.
finish.
Yeah.
No one could finish, huh?
Nobody. Like
That's
they'd
familiar.
get so yeah, I know, Will. I'm sorry. You really gotta take that talk about your erectile dysfunction on the off the air chats, but we'll handle that at another time. So let's go ahead and move into the next game with none other than the Gamecocks themselves.
Jackson, where are you?
Jackson. What if I were to tell y'all Brady
I
Cook
wanna
didn't
hear
throw an
Uncle Bo's
interception
thoughts
in this
on this
game
game.
either? He didn't throw one
Yeah,
in
He
this
also
game
threw
either.
no
but what
touchdowns.
does Uncle Bo think
Also
about
threw
this
no
really?
touchdowns. So there you go. Brady Cook.
Look, I'll
Look-
give this to Eli Drinkwitz. That man can scheme up a running game. Like the way he can pull his guards and the way he uses his tight ends and uses them as fullbacks and the way he uses he schemes his wide receivers
What?
into the blocking. It's just really amazing to watch their running game. And then you go from that to watching Brady Cook try to throw a ball and it makes you want to kill yourself.
Also, we'll point out South Carolina basically didn't score, and by Jackson's logic, it's because the offensive coordinator wasn't fired at the time. So
Yeah, let's go ahead
Do y'all
and
think
argue
that had
that a
anything
little
to
bit.
Maybe Spencer Rattler just sucks.
There's no maybe
'Cause all
behind it.
here's the thing. I still think that Spencer Rattler is not very good. Having 2 games against 2 good teams doesn't automatically make you Jesus Christ. However,
Tennessee's secondary is worse
I will-
than
I will say this.
That is
I
factual.
will admit that if South Carolina did fire their OC earlier, they probably would have an extra win or two. Do I think
Okay.
that Spencer Rattler looks any better? Probably not.
Here's
I
the
think he's
thing with that.
relatively
Here's the
same.
thing with that though, Luke. Teams would have just got film on South Carolina's offense earlier. So if you look back and look at the second half of the Notre Dame game, Marcus Freeman was able to make a bunch of adjustments to kind of slow down South
You know
Carolina's
what?
offense, and
That's
that
not
would
a
have just
terrible
happened
point
earlier in the
because
season.
Clemson really had no film to go off, or not Clemson. Tennessee had no film to go off of,
And they
Clemson,
ran the same 3 plays the whole game.
yeah, just running basically where
And
two receivers,
guess what? Those
they
3
would run
plays did not work against Clemson. South
Basically-
Carolina ran the same 3 passing concepts, and they did not work against.
the concept. The main one they've just abused was a spread offense where they would have 2 receivers on the outside run deep, and then 2 other receivers run deep post, and every single time Tennessee could not guard it. Their secondary would
Yep.
just get cooked.
That's just because.
And
their
guess what
secondary
Clemson
is
did?
ass.
Clemson adjusted to it. And South Carolina had to run different concepts. To their credit, they did run different concepts effectively, but those same concepts did not work against Notre Dame.
But that's
Well,
why I'm
here-
saying, like,
this is-
it's
They would've
not
ran out of
impossible They
concept.
do similar stuff against, because again, these were bad teams that they lost to. So like,
Well, like if we're being realists here, South Carolina realistically this next season isn't going to perform as well as they did this season, and I'll bank
Nope.
on that.
I'll bank on that too.
They're
7
going to lose
5.
to Clemson. They're going to lose to Tennessee. We're going to have to put Jackson on watch. And
wow.
all right, let's go ahead and move
Let's-
into the next
we
game,
move
unless
on.
you want to keep talking.
Let's
we
talk
basically got the
about
gist point.
Kentucky.
This was just a poverty game, except for the fact that Levis just didn't play awful. Other than, oh
This
my
game
God,
was on
Brady Cook
Chris
didn't throw
Rodriguez.
interceptions here either.
This game was on Chris Rodriguez, 100%, 112
Oh,
yards,
yeah, no.
29 carries, but that's still a
Will
decent-
Levis did his best to carry Kentucky to a win in this game.
Yeah.
The more and more we go through these games, specifically the recaps of teams that play Will Levis, I slowly start to realize Will Levis isn't bad. He was just surrounded by not good, like not top tier talent. Like
He
he's
was
not a bad
surrounded by-
quarterback.
Here's the thing.
He
He's
was
not a bad
surrounded by a
quarterback.
bunch of Brady Cook.
It's just the fact that people it's just the fact that he'll be drafted in the top 10 where I'm like, Jesus, what are we doing?
Well,
Scouts.
I'm not gonna lie to you here. All right, Anthony Richardson
Oh,
being
no.
dropped inside the top or drafted inside the top 10. Yeah, it still
Isn't that
looks
bad.
weird. He's not bad. He's an athletic freak. He's like Cam Newton, so say. But if Cam
Well,
Newton wasn't accurate.
Anthony Richardson at least has a general explanation, which is
Okay,
he is the biggest boom or bust prospect ever.
okay.
He
And
will-
he doesn't
95
make the same mistakes more than once.
95% chance that Anthony Richardson busts and he's really bad, but there's a
Eh,
5% chance that he
65%.
becomes the next Joe Burrow
Okay, listen, I'm
Like,
gonna say this and take this with a
in
grain
terms of
salt.
talent.
After looking at Will Levis's, I guess, film, because y'all know I'm a Raiders fan, and for some reason Raiders Twitter is going insane about Will Levis right now. The interceptions that he has on the season
aren't terrible.
aren't terrible, and it's one of those like how Jackson defends Spencer Rattler. And I did the math, 88% of Will Levis's interceptions were because the receivers would not hold on to the ball. They'd tip them.
Dak Prescott.
And a few of his interceptions were it's 3rd and long.
Exactly.
We're on
like
the
he's trying to
50.
force
We're
it
going to
deep.
punt anyways. Let's
Yeah.
throw it at this safety
Will
to see if
Levis
the
is
wide
not
receiver
bad
can make a play.
quarterback, but I'm not saying like he's a step
just not
above mid.
Anything impressive.
He's a step above
Yeah.
mid. He's literally like your prototypical quarterback, and that's all you can. Like he's going to be.
He's
a
what
good
I think
backup.
Kenny Pickett will be. In terms of
I
Yeah.
really want Will Levis on the Raiders. No offense,
don't.
Jason, because
I
I
wanna see
really
CJ
think he
Stroud
can.
on the Raiders.
I really think Will Levis can do well
I've
with the Raiders.
passed the Stroud train. I say we.
I want to see
trade
Lamar
back.
Jackson on the Falcons because
I say
Go
the Raiders
Atlanta.
trade back.
Go Falcons, baby.
Give me Anthony.
yes,
Richardson.
sir.
I'll take Anthony Richardson on the Raiders. But back into this
We'll
game,
take-
Missouri. There's nothing more that I can say other than you had a home field advantage. You were damn near
It was a
sold
morning
out.
game. No, they
It-
weren't. It was a
it-
morning game. There was nobody there.
97% attendance.
Really?
Yes.
There was
It
a
did
ton of
not
people
look
there.
like it. It
Mizzou,
didn't
Yes,
look like it.
Yes, it
Mizzou shows out.
I
Like
don't
their
remember
fans.
that.
That's just
Mizzou
because
always shows up.
62,000 people is all their stadium can hold.
Yeah, it's like that's the
And they
whole
have
deal.
the giant M, which makes it look like there's not as many people there.
Exactly.
That's true.
Point.
Now, oh my gosh, they had, okay, never mind. But Kentucky and Missouri, it was a game really that was more shined by the rushing attack from both teams. Neither quarterback got over 200 yards. Missouri's running back, as much as he only went, or the leading rusher, my bad, went for 65 yards on 21 carries. You just can't compete with Chris Rodriguez, okay? Everybody before the season started, even though he had like a 6 to 7 game suspension, knew he was going to be a menace when he came back, and he was. So Missouri, if Kentucky did not have Chris Rodriguez, you probably would have won this game because Kentucky was not moving the ball without him. Like if that suspension would have went 1 game more, you probably would have won this game. So hats off, you tried. Let's move on.
If Kentucky would have had an offensive line last year,
Kentucky would have actually
They would
been pretty good.
had another win.
All right.
they would have had like 3 more wins.
And for us to go back on what we were saying about Tennessee secondary versus South Carolina as we go into this Missouri and Tennessee game, Brady Cook threw for 221 and 3 touchdowns, no interceptions against Tennessee's defense. Why? Because they are ass. And if you really want to know how bad Tennessee's defense is, Missouri's leading rusher was Brady Cook with 106 yards. Come on.
Then again, I can't say I'm super surprised considering in the last game, Kentucky, they had, I believe, he had 2 touchdowns rushing.
Yeah.
So he's just essentially become a glorified running back.
There was a play during this game because I remember catching this one in between me getting customers and such. I just found it right here. There's a 43-yard pass from Brady Cook to Toski Dove. That was the most beautiful play I had witnessed all season from any team. And everybody
Really?
here, yeah, it was beautiful. It was drawn to perfection. He had 10 yards of separation on the DB. It was beautiful. It was.
Wait, was that where they were moving to the right side of the field and they were
Yeah.
within
Yes.
the 20?
Yep.
Yeah, it was a great
Okay,
throw.
I know what
was
you're talking
beautiful.
about. Yeah, it was good.
But with that being said, Mizzou, you tried everything you could. There's some things that having an even team would help with. Like if your defense was better and Hendon Hooker didn't throw for 355 and the rushing attack wasn't there and Jalen Hyatt didn't get schemed to have a good year by Josh
Yeah.
Heupel, because if we're going to be realist here, he's not a good receiver. He was just schemed correctly. And
Bottom
there's some
line is
people out there that's going to completely disagree with me with that. And the fact of the matter is, the only
kind of.
what?
I said kind of. I still think he's decent. You're
He's-
downplaying him a little bit.
He's good,
fast
but he's not. That's it.
and
He's
can
just
catch a
fast.
football.
He's fast and can catch. Oh my gosh!
Wow.
It's Kavontae Turner.
Wow,
It's
he can beat
Kavontae
DeMarco
Turner.
Helms on a go route. Whoop de doo.
I was gonna say though, one thing to tip the cap, besides the fact that Missouri gave up essentially a basketball score, is you let Overthrow Joe throw a perfect 3 for 3, 105 yards in those 3 passes, and a goddamn touchdown.
See,
Okay,
this-
overthrow Joe's getting a little too much hate on this podcast.
Okay, no, he does not get too much hate because I.
Overthrow Joe.
Okay,
And I-
point to his overthrows last year.
Okay, you want to know what? My
A
hate doesn't
basketball
even-
score.
My hate does not even extend to this past year. All right, as everybody knows,
Don't
and
don't think about the pit game.
No,
Don't
that's
think
not
about
even
the
what I'm
pit
talking
game.
about. Just hush. As everybody knows, I do my best to keep my bias aside. But I went to that Tennessee Ole Miss game. Hendon Hooker goes out with 10 seconds left. All right, as the quarterback, you miss a wide open receiver in the end zone for the game-winning touchdown with 10 seconds left, and you threw it into the stands. Okay, that's not even where the hate stems. The pressure was too big. He pissed down his pants. The pressure, or not the pressure, the thing that pisses me off, he had 2 receivers open as time expired. He decides, I'm going to run. He sees the clock hit 0. You can literally watch him look up at the clock.
I know
As soon
exactly
as it
what
hits
you're
0,
talking about.
he steps out of bounds. He doesn't try to take the hit
He
like a
didn't
man.
even realize the
Fuck
clock.
him.
He didn't even realize the clock.
That was a year and a
He had
half
inspiration
ago.
from Dak
Fuck him.
Prescott.
So
Fuck him.
Peak players get better.
Did you say peak? Joe Milton is nowhere near peak or anywhere close to being peak or ever going to be peak. He peaked at Michigan.
Hot take: he will be a Heisman finalist
Hot
next year.
take: he gets
No.
benched by week 3.
You want to put money on it
$10.
that he gets benched by week 3?
Yeah, $10.
I'll take that. I'll take that.
All right. Do you know what week 3 is for Tennessee? It's Florida. You really think
yeah,
they're going to
okay.
keep him in the game versus Florida?
I did. I think he's going to beat Florida.
Okay.
I think he'll put up 50.
Fuck.
5-0.
Somebody else lead the podcast. We'll smoke and crack again. Let's just go ahead and move on to the next game because there's nothing more to say about this game other than Tennessee's offense just completely. I'm not going to finish that statement. To Missouri's defense, and it won't let me back up. Do y'all really want to go over New Mexico State?
Absolutely not.
All right, let's talk about their
No.
2-point loss to Arkansas. Shit.
No, they won. They beat Arkansas.
I read that wrong. Whoa. Damn. We really hate on.
Okay.
Do you guys mind if I intervene real
Go-
quick?
Yeah, go
Do you guys
for
mind
it.
if I
Before I
intervene
make
real
my
quick?
take,
So listen,
Jason,
I drew
Hold
out
on,
the
Will.
diagram for you.
Will,
No,
you
asshole.
shut up. No, Will, you
I
shut
drew
up.
up a diagram for you guys to explain something that's a pretty basic concept. So here, we have Hendon Hooker. A pretty normal guy. He throws the ball, and the guy catches it. See, it's beautiful. Then we have Overthrow Joe. See, OTH, Overthrow Joe. Here's him.
Hey, but at least he can throw it far.
He can throw it far, though. It made it all the way into the pouch. The football's in there. It's beautiful.
Do you want to join the bet, Luke? Do you want to join the bet?
I didn't even hear the beat, so you're gonna have to repeat it.
All right, $10
He
that Joe gets benched by week 3.
Ooh.
I said no. Jason says yes.
Do you want
I
to know
don't think
what?
it'll be by week 3.
Do y'all
I think
wanna
it'll be
know-
like
okay,
week 5.
Here, we'll take a break because we have some time to burn here before we get into the rest of these games. Do you want to know why he'll get benched that early? Do you
Yeah,
really?
Why?
I would say week 5,
Okay.
but sure.
Okay.
I don't know the coaching staff that well.
All right. Tennessee's coaching staff, while recruiting Nico Sose, they went before the school season started because y'all know he committed the February before his senior season or the March. His high school ran the damn, like, literally, Heupel dropped off his scheme a couple of the plays,
Oh
told
my
them
God.
to run this, and they've had him literally working that scheme his entire high school senior season. Why? To come in and get him to true freshman play. You really
Wow.
think Tennessee's dropping $9 million for a risk?
I'm not saying that he's a risk. I'm just was originally thinking that the coaches wouldn't be that lenient to bring in a freshman week 3. I thought they'd give him a bit more of a chance.
Oh,
I
they
still
gave him a
think
whole
that Nico's
season to
going to
learn
start
that
at one
scheme.
point.
They gave him a
But-
whole season to learn that scheme, baby.
I think he gets
a long
benched
time.
after the Georgia game
Shit.
or during the Georgia game.
You know, that's actually a more realistic take. I'll give that one to you. But let's go back into Arkansas and Mizzou. This game, okay, listen. We hate on Brady Cook too much. After seeing this game, this is his I'm him performance. 242 yards
Yeah.
in the air, 138 yards on the ground. He had a
Two
touchdown both
touchdowns,
ways.
no picks.
No picks. And Lovett, who seemed to be his
Dominic Lovett.
favorite target that game, 6 receptions, 130 yards.
Hyatt yards or Hyatt reception numbers.
Missouri, if
But-
you could have played like this all year, you would have went like 9-3.
I'm gonna be real. I have a bold take that this game kind of made me think, and also just the games in general this season. Instead of you have to move to Missouri, Raheem Sanders is overrated.
Okay,
Correct.
Completely
I'm going to
disagree.
actually come at you a little bit with that one. Did KJ Jefferson
Sure.
play in this game?
Yes, he did.
Was this the game after he... Which game in the schedule is this for Arkansas?
This is their.
Who did they play the week before?
We just talked about it. They played
Who did
Tennessee.
Arkansas play the week
Oh,
before?
Arkansas. I apologize. Let me check. before the Missouri game, they played Ole Miss and they won.
Okay, yeah. So in the Ole Miss game, KJ Jefferson once again got injured, and whenever KJ Jefferson, I know you hate to talk about injuries, but whenever KJ Jefferson was injured, Arkansas could
Sanders
not
went
move
off.
the ball. Arkansas could not move the ball.
I completely agree that Sanders went off that game, but I'm just saying, whenever Arkansas has a passing threat, it doesn't seem like he's going crazy. Now, if they just move towards being a ground game team, then maybe he proves me wrong.
Well,
But
what I'm saying is they couldn't throw the ball through the air, which, yes, running the ball can score points, but it's not going to score you enough points to win games if you're
Well,
only running the
sure.
ball.
Yeah. I
And
agree with
whenever
that.
he's hurt, they can't throw the ball, and they're anemic on offense.
Close to it, yeah. I agree.
They scored 19 points against Liberty when he was hurt.
How early was that in the season, though?
It was like week 11.
Oh, really? That late? Jeez. Well, then again, though, also I think that was the point where their defense was also incredibly injured.
I mean, like all four of their starting DBs got hurt by week 2.
That was such an unfortunate season for them. But I do want to mention, because I don't want to take the attention away from Missouri, main that few stats impressed me. Number one, you nearly had 500 total yards. Very impressive. And also, a point that I like to make is that fourth down conversion. That was pretty sexy, I'll admit. And once again, this is a theme for Missouri. You held the time of possession. You had the majority time. Not by much, but you did. And I feel like Missouri wins the games that they own possession in when they have the most time for the offense to cook. No pun intended. But this is finally a game where even though Arkansas didn't have the greatest secondary, Cook finally said, "All right, screw V2. I'm done you guys making fun of me. I'm gonna ball. I ball, Arkansas fall."
All right,
I
listen.
wouldn't call 240 yards balling.
I would,
I mean, it was a
considering what
good
he's
passer
done all season.
efficiency. Yeah. Good
I would
passer
say it was
efficiency,
I
no
would
picks.
say it's a good performance, a
All right.
good solid performance.
All right, listen. We're not gonna go into their bowl game strictly because we are
Man, I
now
was gonna
over
make such a
time.
good joke.
Make the joke real quick, and then I'm doing the sign off.
Okay. All right. Well, they went with Gasparilla Bowl, and after looking at Brady Cook's stats in that game, which I can pull up for you right here, 30. You passed 30 for 49. Austin. Sorry,
Is this
30
supposed to be
for
a joke?
49, 230 yards and a touchdown, and I had to gasp, just like a Gasparilla after seeing those stats from him.
I'm retarded.
I love you, Dane. I love you, Dane.
Dane, sometimes we clown you.
What's
for
the
not
joke? Brady
speaking a
Cook's
lot.
stat line. What's the joke? Brady Cook's stat line.
I know we clown you sometimes for not speaking, but after hearing that fucking joke, I don't even know if I want you to do the sign off. But too bad they got the YouTube likes. You got to do the sign off. Go ahead and go for it.
All right. Well, make sure to use code V2 Sports for SeatGeek. You have to make a brand new account. Can't stress that enough, or else it doesn't work. You won't get your 20% off. And use code V2 Sports for Dubby, and drink it up. It's very tasty, very good.
It's actually
Tried all
pretty
the
good
flavors.
stuff.
You
I've
should have it
started
without
using it.
liquid, just strictly
I
the
am
powder.
that's what I do. You have to dry scoop it, drink your water afterwards. It really tastes good. It
Why are
really
you dry scooping it? Why are you not snorting it?
Scoop per sip. That's
Exactly.
all I'm
Okay.
saying. Scoop
okay.
Henderson.
My nose has been injured because of what happened at Missouri.
All right. Y'all heard Dane give the sign off, and as always, Dane, go ahead and finish it.
Mm-hmm. Good morning, good afternoon, and good night from the V2 crew.
Keep it
Stay
classy.
classy. Kyle
Stay
gets no
classy.
bitches.